2-2 comparing and ordering rational numbers. I'm submitting this one to YouTube, you guys and you gals. So we have it. Tarun, Nafisa, Daughtry, and Annabelle are all in a race to see who can run the furthest. We're going to order their distances from best to worst. Tarun ran 2 3/10 miles. Nafisa ran 32 15ths miles. Daughtry ran 2 3/7 miles. And Annabelle ran 1/10 of a mile less than Nafisa. I did ask you to show all of your steps, so there's not just one way to solve this. Okay, but someone tell me, what is the one thing that we all probably had to do first? The heck?
Figure out 32 over 15.
Okay, even broader than that. Not just figure out what 32 15ths is, but what is the one thing we had to do with all of this data here?
We had to find out what Annabelle got.
We have to find out what Annabelle got, but even broader than that, what did we have to do, Michael?
Make sure all the numbers are either decimals or fractions.
We had to convert them to decimals, fractions, either mixed numbers, and we had to get them all in the same type of rational number, right? So what I'm going to do is I am going to try to get them all into improper fractions. I've got 32 15ths, so I'm already done with Nafisa. Daughtry is 2 3/7. Okay, so I know I can do that pretty quickly. 2 times 7 is 14, plus 3 is 17. Keep my denominator 7. So I've got 17 sevenths. I've got a number which is 32 15ths. I have got 2 3/10, which I can write as an improper or as a mixed number, right? And 2 3/10 is actually 23/10, correct? Okay, so I'm just going to get rid of this. So I have 23/10. The problem is Annabelle. We have her as 1/10 of a mile less than Nafisa.
It's just
1/10 of a mile less than Nafisa. Okay, so again, who is 17 sevenths? 17 sevenths is, okay, 17 sevenths is actually really important that we label these. This is Daughtry, so I'll use a D. 32 15ths is Nafisa. 23/10 is Tarun. And right now we have Annabelle as we don't know. We do know that she is 1/10 less than Daughtry, right? 1/10 less than Nafisa. How would you calculate that? 32 15ths is Nafisa. 1/10 is Annabelle. She's 1/10 less. Ben?
turn the pieces into a decimal.
Turn it into a decimal?
Yeah.
Or could you turn Annabelle's into a fraction?
Yeah.
Okay, so either one works, right? So what I'm going to do, in order to figure out what Annabelle is, I'm going to take 32 15ths, which is Nafisa's, and I'm going to subtract 1/10. Does that work?
No.
Is she 1/10 of a mile less than? Is she 1/10 of a mile less than Nafisa?
Yes.
Does that work?
Yes.
Oh, it does, right? Okay. So in order to subtract, we know we have to have common.
Denominator.
And what is a common denominator for 15 and 10?
30.
30. So the least common multiple of 15 and 10 is 30. So I like to just write the whole thing out. And 32 15ths is now going to be 64 30ths. And 1/10 is now going to be 3 30ths. And how far did Annabelle run?
61.
61 over 30. Now we have everybody aligned, correct? Okay, so what I'm going to redo is, since we have them all in improper fractions, I have to find a common denominator for all 4 of them, right? So I've got 17 sevenths, and again, I'm going to keep my label so I don't lose who I have. I've got 32 15ths, and that is going to be Nafisa. I've got Tarun at 23 tenths. You guys are going to have to help me out with calculations here. And I've got Annabelle at 61 30ths. Got it? Common multiple for 7, 15, 10, and 30. What is a LCM for all 4 of those? LCM for 7, 15, 10, and 30. Do we have one?
No.
Let's find one. There's got to be one there. I'm going to pause. Through some trial and error, we've decided that 210 is the LCM of 7, 15, 10, and 30. We also came up with, thanks to Gloria, 31,500, and which would actually work. It's just not the LCM, but it still work. So let's go with a little bit easier one with 210. Uh-oh. 210. And I like to do it this way. How many of you started doing it like this on your work the other day? Are you guys just putting the common denominator for all of them down? Who's doing this? Anybody? Just me. Okay, a couple of you. Okay, so I think it's easier. Once we get our numbers figured out, we're going to be good to go. So I know that 7 goes into 210 30 times. So can somebody tell me what 17 times 30 is? Oh, never mind, because it's mental math. 17, 34, 51, add the 0, 5, 10. 15 goes into 210 how many times? Somebody help me out with that one. 10, probably what, 13? 14 times?
Yeah, 14.
Okay, and what is 32 times 14?
448.
448?
Yep.
Okay, and 10 goes into 210 21 times, so what is 23 times 21? 10 times 21 is 210, what's 23 times 21, Nafisa?
483.
So, say again, Nafisa?
480.
483, and 30 goes into 210, I know that's 7 times. I know 61 times 7 would be 427, right?
Yep.
Done. If I'm going to order these in the correct order from who ran the longest to who ran the not longest, I would say the longest runner would be Daughtry. She ran the longest distance. My next longest runner is going to be Tarun. My next longest runner is going to be Nafisa. And we know this is right because we know that Annabelle has to be less than Nafisa, right? Or we don't know it's right, but we have a good idea that at least these two are right. Because we know Annabelle is 1/10 of a mile less than Nafisa, and according to our math, it works out that she is behind Nafisa. Is that something you're incapable of doing? You're incapable of doing this?
No.
Question, Michael.
Would it work if we used decimals instead of fractions?
You could do decimals instead of fractions, yes. I just chose to go with fractions.